Good afternoon, everybody, and we are relaunching the On the Mic with Meta podcast. My name is Divian, I'm the host. Very happy for you to be doing this again. I'd like to introduce my co-host for today, Rob. How you doing?
I'm very well, mate. How are you doing?
Not bad, not bad. I'm good. So just to sort of set the scene, we are discussing all things WWE in this podcast and future podcasts down the line. Very, very interesting week and interesting time. Of course, WrestleMania always is. And Rob, I'd like to start today, and actually, I'd like to do the whole show on something I never thought we'd ever be discussing, and that is the John Cena heel turn beginning at Elimination Chamber. Now, we
Yeah,
both saw that, not together, but we both saw it. And I want to take your thoughts on your initial reactions going back to that moment.
yeah. Just for context at home, I don't have, I mean, I have Netflix, obviously, but being in the UK, obviously, I don't have the energy to step and watch the events live. So,
Yeah.
I was catching the bits and bobs in the morning. And I'd had some theories up to that point because my initial theory was that, okay, I don't think Cody will turn. I don't think Cody will sell his soul. But so my initial prediction is I thought CM Punk was going to. That's what I thought was going to happen. Um, so obviously I wake up the next day, go onto YouTube as you do. See John Cena sells out. I'm like, what? No, no, I can't be right. Obviously watched it. And there's not many things in this world, that shock me in films, wrestling, football. There's not many things that shock me. When I was sat there like, with my phone watching it, and I watched John Cena selling out, I was genuinely like, what? I absolutely loved the segment. It was pure cinema. Um, yeah, I just can't. I just thought it was I thought it was a bullet they were never going to fire. But man, they fired it. They didn't miss their shot.
What and we'll discuss it in great detail throughout the show, obviously. But what was the what specifically did you like about it? What was the
How does that? So I mean, there's so many things, right? So like, it's now going back and watching like some of his previous segments where it's like, wow, that was actually kind of clues. I mean, excluding like, what he spoke about in the promo, which I'm sure we'll get onto, but I'm talking about a specific moment in Toronto, right? Um, so like one of the first things was after the Royal Rumble after he lost, and when he got back in the ring on that event, I thought he was going to attack Jay. I was like, oh, and then it was like, oh no, well played, man. I was like, okay, that's interesting, but I thought maybe that was just like a nothing of it. He did the press conference where he was like, what's best for business is like to be an elimination chamber. I thought, okay, that's slightly a heel move. Just insert yourself in there because it's best. I thought, okay, okay, and we know Triple H likes that phrase, and when he says that, something bad normally happens. So I was like, okay, interesting. But I thought, no, I mean, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Obviously, it comes to the chamber, and as you know, and I know, and there was one or two things that I noticed in the match. Like, obviously, when CM Punk got taken out and he was straight in there, like a vulture, I was like, that's not very John Cena-y. Okay, but I thought, maybe it's just desperate, whatever. I'm overthinking it. You know, comes to the moment, obviously, and sorry, I realize I'm giving you a long-winded answer, but I'm just giving context towards my answer. Because then it comes to the segment and he's like, oh yeah, me and you, WrestleMania, thanks guys, he's selling it to the moon. Rock comes out, da 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 da. And it's like, okay, okay, well, is this about to go tits up for Cody, and then he's like, not gonna do it, go fuck yourself. Which, by the way, in itself was an immense moment to
oh,
hear
great moment. Great
to
moment.
hear that sort of cursing, but it worked within the context,
Yeah.
and it just kind of showed, okay, yeah, we're really in a new era.
Yeah.
Then you had John like, yeah, go on, yeah. I'm like, oh no, and then it comes to the yeah, man, and then the and I'm like, no, what? And then you do the rock like, and I'm like, wait, what? What? And it's just you could feel the crowd just turn
Yeah.
like yeah, what? And it's just oh, then the kick in the nuts, the turn, the change in the atmosphere, and oh, it was like that was right before the Oscars, right? That
Yeah.
should have been a late tender for like it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
It just had all the shock value you could have had it with all the build up and just oh
I mean,
shit.
there's a couple of things I want to pick up on that, right? So let's go
Yeah.
back a little bit. Let's peel the onion back a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
after the Royal Rumble, it obviously came down to him and Jey Uso. Jey Uso
Yep.
wins, which I loved, by the way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Jey Uso wins. Press conference comes out, and I don't know if any of our viewers have ever seen these press conferences with Cena. Normally, he answers a million questions and stays far too long, which he said, and he answers no questions, and then he just starts saying, "I'm in the elimination chamber because I'm what's best for business." And I thought, huh, that's a bit different. It's a
Yeah.
bit not the normal John Cena-esque that we normally see. But it didn't twig to me. I didn't think of it that way,
That's it.
you know? And then you see that, and it's just like, what? Excuse me, but what the fuck? That's literally what I was thinking, amongst other things.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? The one thing we never thought we'd see, we finally saw. And
Yeah.
it was
Worth the wait as well.
phenomenal. Like, and I don't know how you feel, but I would go as far as to say if he had ever turned heel before that, 20 years before that point, because obviously for those of us that remember, he was a little heel in sort of 2002, 2003 time, but nowhere
Hmm.
near the levels of heel that we see now. Um,
Yeah.
if he had ever turned heel between that point to up till now, it wouldn't have worked. It needed to be this point. And
Yeah.
actually, it makes sense because he is actually retiring. That's not a
Mm.
gimmick. He's leaving at the end of this year. So he's got no time left, and it worked. It was phenomenal. But one thing I liked about it was because when he was here full time, I'm referencing the promo that he did on the 17th of
Monday,
March,
wasn't
so
it?
just gone, yeah. And and he's like, I'm not changing. I'm not, why am I changing? When I was here all the time, I gave you guys, he's talking to the fans. I gave you
Mm.
guys everything. I gave you my heart. I gave you my soul. I busted my ass. I won all the time. I proved myself to be great, and you guys just shat all over me, basically. And
Yeah.
he described it as a toxic relationship. And actually, the best promos in my mind are the ones where people tell the truth. And he told the truth.
He did. He didn't. That's it. And I think that's what's so beautiful about it. Because like, even if you go back and watch his old matches, it's like everything he said is like that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
You- We are the heels here.
Yeah.
We should be ashamed of ourselves, to be honest. All of us, all of you should be
Yeah.
ashamed of
Yeah.
yourself.
Exactly. Because I remember we've talked about this obviously off air, but I
Yeah.
remember you saying to me previously that one of the reasons why you stopped watching wrestling is because, it was everything being so predictable. And one of the elements of
Yeah.
that is John Cena winning all the time. And actually he turned around and said back in his heyday, he turned around at this time and said, hold on, I won because I'm great. It's your fault. It's your fault. You're the problem, as in the fans. You're the
Yeah.
problem. I'm not the problem. So, and obviously, whenever we as wrestling fans have fantasized around this heel turn beforehand, we thought, okay, new music, new gear, new everything, like a complete 180 to how we know John Cena in terms of the character.
Mm.
And he's like, hold on. I'm not giving you any new gear. I'm not giving you any new music. Why? Because I'm not the problem. You're the problem.
Yeah.
And you know how normally one of the things I liked about the entrance on Monday, the crowd was great, by the way, and we'll get into that.
Mm.
One of the things I like about the entrance as well, it was normally he comes in, he's running down the ramp, he says hi to the cameraman, he says, "Oh, hey Stu, let's go to work." None of that. None of
No,
that.
just cold
He
as ice.
Yeah, he just walks down the ramp like with a can't be bothered attitude, and
Yeah.
he just allows this hate coming from the audience, which I love,
Mm.
you know. I,
He like played it beautifully, didn't he? It's just like the end just said, like, I'm not here for you. I don't have time for you. I don't care about you guys, you know. You don't deserve my time. It's like, wow.
because initially I know we talked about this that you thought the promo was at first, correct me if I'm wrong, but you thought the promo at first was a bit boring, a bit bland. Am I right in
I
that?
wasn't, yeah, so I wasn't the first I watched it live because obviously it was in Belgium. So
Yeah,
being in Europe, I was able to catch it live for
time
once.
different. Yeah,
And we get to catch it live for the next 2 weeks, by the way, which is great.
yeah.
Um, but I wasn't sure how I felt about it. So I don't know if I didn't hate it, but maybe I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I watched it back 2 or 3 times and I
Yeah.
started and I was like, oh, actually, yeah, this is cooking.
Because I remember speaking to you about this, and I was like, Rob, you're missing the point, mate. That is the point. We're not.
Mm.
He's not going to be any different because at the end of the day, we're the ones that wanted different, and he's not giving it to us.
Yeah.
That's
Doesn't care about us anymore.
that's that's the beautifulness of it. We wanted different. He's not giving it to us. So therefore,
Yeah.
and within the context of the promo, I think as you alluded to at the beginning of this podcast, he's trying to make us the heels, as in the fans
Mm.
being the heels, and that's phenomenal. Because he's like, I'm not a baby face. I'm not a heel. I'm a human being. I'm not a puppet for you guys to just use whenever you want.
That's it. And that's what us as fans have been doing, it's like you're here, it's like you're here to entertain us. And he's just basically gone, F you, I'm here for me. Screw you guys. And it's like, wow, actually, like,
Oh,
John, I'm sorry, take us back.
I'm sorry, I was wrong. Because
I was wrong.
because what it does is it forces the people to look at inwards at ourselves and think,
Mm.
actually, all of these times that we took him for granted, because remember during that reign where he was champion for I think 380 days, during a time just sort of set the scene where that was unheard of in that era because you had
Mm.
Triple H, you had Edge, you had all these other guys, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk was on the rise, you had all these other people in that time, Jericho, who's now in AEW, all those people at that time, and you didn't have long title reigns. Normally, people would have a title for a month, maybe 2, 3 months, and that was it. You know,
Yeah.
back in those times, he had the title for 380 days, and maybe we didn't appreciate it at the time as much as we should have, and I think that's what he's saying.
Mm. Yeah, like he gave us, literally blood, sweat, and tears,
Yeah,
and we're just getting booed out the building,
yeah,
and it's like, I suppose it's like why should he give us any more of his like,
yeah,
of his
exactly,
time and his respect? So it's like we don't respect him.
exactly.
It's
Because I
like, damn,
remember
John, we're sorry.
exactly because I remember since after that show and after the reception that after that he received on Monday, I went back and I watched ECW One Night Stand 2006, which is when
Mm.
he faced Rob Van Dam for the title. I'm not I you must know what that show is, and you must have
Yep, I
seen
remember
it.
that match. Yeah.
And the whole crowd was just throwing stuff at him, swearing,
Mm.
F-bombing, everything. And it was that kind of response. It was that kind of response during that promo. And I'm like, this is genius. This is great.
It's
You
it
know?
is. It's like everything that I'm talking about. Like you're doing it right now, and I love the way he was looking at the camera. And he's like, you're proving my point, and I'm like, they actually are. Like, I can't say, oh, Like, he's literally, we're 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 glorifying what he's saying, but it's like, we're just proving him correct.
And he's not wrong. He's
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 not
not
he's not wrong.
he's not wrong. And I remember we talked about this off air that you when he first because obviously he is legitimately retiring. That's not a storyline. That's what, in the business what we call a shoot. Um,
Mm.
you know, you said to me before that you didn't want him to become a 17-time world champion. Now,
Yeah,
knowing what we've seen so far and what we potentially could be in store for, have
yeah.
you still have that point of view, or have you changed it?
Oh, absolutely. Like, so yeah, so context, yeah, we spoke about this, yeah, and I was like, I think going out, he should kind of, it should be more of a thing of putting over like, the newer guys like Cody and what's the like Jay Gunther, so I forgot his name for a
Yeah.
second. But after seeing what I've seen in the story, I honestly think he should whip Cody's ass at Mania and win. I honestly think it should be almost like you didn't like me when I was champ. Now I'm champ again. I don't care about you. I'm doing this for me, you know. But I mean, he could still like drop it back to Cody before he leaves or something. But
Yeah.
I think we see a 17th and final reign of heel
I,
John Cena.
I think we should because and I don't think do you know it's funny. Normally when we see heel turns and things of that nature in this business, we try and compare it to other things. Because he hasn't turned heel in such a long time, I've got nothing to compare this to. I don't know what a John Cena heel looks like.
No.
I genuinely do not. I've got nothing to compare it to. So I'm thinking, ooh, this is going to be good. I don't know what we're going to see, but I just take my money and watch it, you know. Um, I,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to watch, you know, and that's what makes me excited about it. And the other thing I want to talk about is that I don't know if you've seen this online, but as far as the heel turn in itself, only a very small group of people knew what was going to happen in terms of that show. Because
Heard
initially,
about
that
this.
initially that segment was booked to be sort of second to last on the show, and the Elimination Chamber was going to main event. That was the plan going into the whole week. However, that was sort of done to hide the initial impact of what was going to happen. So
Mm.
the segment for the Cody and the Rock segment was always going to be planned last, but they did it to sort of fool everybody, including those in the
I
locker
saw
room,
that. Yeah.
because they didn't want it to leak. Obviously, that John Cena was going to turn into a bad guy, and
Yeah.
that was so smart. And I also wanted to give flowers to Michael Cole in this happened, because during the heel turn, we don't really allow that. We've never really seen commentators swear on air, and
No.
it not be bleeped. Um, and the pain and the anguish that came through on Michael Cole's voice and Pat McAfee, my goodness, I mean the commentary was just beautiful.
It
Um,
was.
it added so much to that moment. What did you think about that?
I was a big fan of the commentary because I say one bit I really liked. So you know when John and Cody shook hands and it was all happy. It's like there's a WrestleMania main event, John Cena, and then
The eyes.
the and then Cole just went silent, and it was almost like even like seeing able to see his face, you can tell he was just like, wait, what? And then obviously it happened, and it was like, what the hell, And then yeah, like you said, the pain, the anguish is like John wants to go out like this. John wants to go out like.
And one quote I will repeat one quote. He goes, and I'm quoting now. After everything he's done in his career, he's gonna stoop to this shit. And it's not the swearing, it's the pain that comes through in his voice.
The disgust is like,
It's,
am I
oh,
really seeing this? Like, yes, yes, this is happening.
yes, Michael
Yeah.
Cole. Yes, you know, and the way that because I'm everyone loves the blood and whatnot. I
Mm.
don't mind blood, but I don't want it to be shown every single time, again and again
Loses the
and again.
effect, doesn't it?
You know. But when they saw the blood, when we saw blood on Cody, it's just like, whoa, this is different. You know, it's things like that. And my God, I think we talked about being an Oscars the day before. Why wasn't this fucking nominated? Like
Should have been.
this,
Honestly,
we should have an Emmy for this stuff, man. It was that good. It was that good. And I just, you're gonna have to go some to top that. Let's just put it that way. You
it's
know,
probably the most shocking heel turn in wrestling history for me.
I think I think this beats out Hulk Hogan's heel turn back at Bash at the Beach in 1996.
Oh, 100% for me. I just think it's like it's just, it's just no one could have foreseen it coming. And
Yeah,
I'll tell you what I really liked about it as well. When you obviously, when you watch the fans' reaction from like behind the hard cam, you can see, after obviously the Rock does all this, you can see like, oh wait, is this like, and then he kicks him in the nuts. You can see like the what? And it's just like wow, like the raw emotion of the fans as
yeah.
well.
And
Like,
and the thing is,
oh,
the fans today are just so jaded in terms of they always think they know what's going to happen. I'm like,
hmm.
nobody knew that. No one knew that, and it's one of those things where I'll be honest, we'll do another episode on the final boss together because I want to discuss that. But
Yes, yes,
I think we need to discuss this entire episode on this today. But I didn't think anything last year. I didn't think anything could top the final boss character that the Rock adopted. Right?
yeah.
I didn't think anything could top that because I thought this is way different to what I this is way better than anything I could have experienced. That that heel turn and what we could possibly see going forward may top the final boss turning into a bad guy and being created.
Yeah. I agree. I just think, John Cena for so many years, he's been like the face of the company, whatever, how many hundreds it is, Make a Wish,
Yeah.
do wish that he's done. Make a fam, was it Make a Wish? Is that
Wish
what they call it?
Foundation, yeah.
Yeah, Make a Wish. He's like the He's like the goodest guy of goodest guys. This is like for anyone that maybe isn't a wrestling fan, this is like Spider-Man beating up Aunt May. This is like Batman beating the crap out of Alfred and be like, what? It's just something you would never see coming. He's just like
Yeah.
been the most purest, goodest guy. And now he's joined the dark side. And
Yeah,
it's like,
it's
wow.
literally, to use it because one of my favorite non-wrestling things is the Dark Knight. And
Hmm.
it's literally like Batman joining the Joker.
Yes, that's a great example. Yes.
I don't see how else we could describe that. The one thing you never thought would happen has finally happened, and what the hell now is going to happen? Because the hardest thing in the world, right, in this company, in this business, is to keep a secret, right?
Hmm.
With social media, with everything else that goes on, because people leak stuff, and sometimes and you know my thoughts on this. I prefer not to know. I prefer
No,
to
I'm the
find
same.
out. Yeah, I don't follow the online on the online crap because most of it's just bullshit anyway. So half the time, so I prefer not to know. But the hardest thing in the world is to keep a secret, and they managed to keep that secret because, as far as I'm aware, only The Rock knew. This is not in storyline. This is in real life. Only The Rock knew. Only Triple H knew. John Cena obviously knew. And Cody Rhodes knew. And maybe and the one of The Rock's head writers of his own company. I think his name is Brian Gewirtz, who was a previous writer for WWE.
All right.
Those were the only people, as far as I'm aware, that knows. And we and from what I've seen in an interview with Triple H, I don't know if you've seen it, where he talks about that moment, and he's like, "Oh, it's a written one. It's not video." He talks, "Oh, towards the end of the show, he goes into Gorilla, which if nobody else knows, it's the position behind the stage and
Mhm.
the curtain, and he's like, I'm taking control of production, and obviously because no one else knows, and then it happens, and it's just like."
That's it. It's just like,
What did you think of the initial segment going into it? So obviously we knew that, The Rock had given Cody Rhodes this offer
yeah,
to become his champion essentially. Because going back to the first Raw on Netflix, January 6th, The
yeah.
Rock comes out and embraces Cody Rhodes, and everyone online goes crazy because like they've been feuding for a whole year and now he just embraces him. It's like,
Hmm.
oh no, they were setting up for this moment. All of that was done to set this up. Right?
Yeah.
So, what did you think of the initial segment of, The Rock going into an Elimination Chamber of The Rock saying to Cody, I want you to be my champion." What was your initial thoughts on that? Because a lot of people were very lukewarm on that idea.
Yeah. So obviously, like you said, they had the Mad Feud last year. Then they had the Raw segment, and I remember talking. I think I spoke to you about this
We did, yeah?
when I in the segment. I was a bit confused because it kind of felt like, oh, they're just friends now. It just felt a bit weird. But now I'm looking back, now I'm thinking he was buttering Cody up
Of he was, yeah.
for the offer.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, I saw the segment when he said, "Oh, I want your soul," and I thought, okay, interesting. He's asking him to basically sell out, and I thought, well, I don't know. I could kind of see elements of maybe where Cody could be a heel, but at the same time, I'm like, they kind of pushed this guy as like the new face of the company. Like,
Well,
are
he
they
is
really gonna
now.
just turn him now, like
Yeah.
after not even a year?
Yeah.
But the way they were sort of building up other people got me thinking, like I think I said at the start, that like I thought CM Punk might be the guy they would turn, because it was like, his big story was like WrestleMania main event. And it's like, yeah, I kind of thought like that's the route I thought they were going to go down. It was like, well, if he can't get his WrestleMania event any other way, he may as well sell out, right? But they were just so left field.
I
But in terms of the actual segment, that's kind of, yeah,
Yeah,
what
I
I
mean,
like.
I initially, when it came down to Cena and Punk as the last two, I initially thought what you had said about, okay, they could possibly do CM Punk as the turn, because
Yeah.
otherwise, I mean, I never thought John Cena would turn into a bad guy. That didn't even cross my mind. Um, but when it came down to CM Punk and Cena as the last two in that Elimination Chamber, I was thinking, okay, maybe it could be CM Punk, and then obviously that happens, and I'm just like, this is literally my face. I'm like, what? And then I think I messaged you at like 7 in the morning as soon as I got up because obviously I didn't stay up for it. I'm like, Rob, have you watched Simulation Chamber? And you were like, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? And I think I sent you a voice note. I'm like, what the fuck?
You did. I think I've still got it actually. Like, I just remember watching that segment and being like they did it. They actually did it.
But it's not
But
just them, it's not just them doing it, it's the way they did it as well. And I think that in and of itself is
mm,
genius.
it was honestly like it's one of them segments that I can't say one bad thing about. Like, it was literally perfect.
Yeah.
But the way John's selling it, then it's like the shock value of wait, what? Because yeah, I didn't. I mean, I just didn't see them turning Cody. Like, I did think he was being used as a red herring,
Yeah.
just not for John Cena.
So you so you didn't you kind of thought rightly thought that they weren't turning Cody. You just didn't know that they were turning Cena essentially.
Yeah, I had a feeling that like Cody wouldn't turn because I don't know. For me, it wouldn't have made sense after all of that, beating his ass for like the last year. And then it's like, oh yeah, and also it's like he's already like the champ. He already comes out in these like suave suits and all that. I thought, does he really need to sell out? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he did. But the way they were pushing CM Punk for like main event of WrestleMania, that's what it's
Mm.
genius in a way
It's
because
genius.
I was so got tunnel vision on him that he's the one that's going to do it. We forgot about lovely John Cena. John
Yeah.
Cena,
Like
we forgot about him.
yeah. Like
He was brewing in the background, and then it was like, what?
yeah, like we as you know, we write scripts and screenplays and things of that nature, and all of that, in our spare time, all of that is crafted around storytelling, right? And
Mm,
putting stuff together. And sometimes like we get what's called writer's block, where we just can't think of things. I would never, I will never be able to write anything like what we have just seen.
no, no, I don't think I can even. I'm not worthy.
It, it's it's that good and it's that memorable. Like this, we will still be thinking of this 20 years from now when they're
Oh,
all,
100%.
you know. Um, what did you think of the whole uh F-bomb type thing from Cody? And we've got about 9 minutes left. But what did you think about the whole F-bomb of Cody? Because normally they don't do F-bombs in WWE, and I think that was
No,
very cleverly used. You know?
I think that's it. Like, I think if they like, used every episode, I think it would feel less impactful. Um, But what I love about it is that it kind of reiterated, like, yeah, Cody really is this good guy. He ain't selling out for no one.
Yeah.
And it kind of almost set the tone for the segment because everyone was like, yeah, everyone's so happy, like, get in there. To then set up the shock value for the turn that they all knew that those four knew were coming. Um,
It was
but I think it set the tone perfectly for the moment,
yeah.
you know?
And you know something? Normally with heel turns, they just attack the guy straight away, or
Mm,
the guy turns and attacks the guy straight away. But it didn't. They didn't do that. It was the eyes. It
that's it.
The turn was the eyes, and we're just like, and then obviously they go to the Rock doing this, and I'm just like, what?
It's
Like,
like, no way.
and then you have Michael Cole towards the end, he takes his headset off, and he comes and gets Cody in the ring, and I'm just like. Wow, this
Or cinema.
all these little details, right? Things that you wouldn't even think of, they just add to the moment. When's the last time you saw Jim Ross come out of, and I love you, Jim Ross. If you ever listen to this, there's not a knock on you at all. But when's the last time you saw Jim Ross take his headset off and come into the ring and you know, sort of cradle the injured wrestler? It's never happened before. You know,
That's
it,
it.
it's amazing.
It's just like it's the little details, isn't it? It's just like I think it really sold the impact and the shock of this turn because it's just like and it just shows that yeah, just like absolutely nobody in the world could have seen it coming, you know? And it's a little bit of yeah, like you said, like Michael Cole getting in the ring and like just adding to the shock value, I guess, of like I can't believe this just happened.
Yeah, and again the promo we talked about obviously the New Day turning heel on Big E, which I loved by the way. It
I
was
love that. That's a brilliant segment.
yeah, but the brilliance of this is both those heel turns have one thing in common, right? The heels were correct. They were right. They were right. And the beauty of these heel turns is that we as people, in general, we don't like to hear the truth.
No, that's it.
The truth, the old expression of the truth hurts. Well, this killed the John Cena fan base.
Yeah.
This broke their hearts. Why? Because he was forcing you to confront an uncomfortable truth about yourself and how selfish you are as people. You know, and I'm a John Cena fan. I always have been, but
Yeah.
I've always appreciated him, always, even back then. But those that didn't, it forces you to confront an uncomfortable truth that you didn't want to confront.
Yeah.
Referencing back to his
That's
promo.
that's the beauty of it. Like, yeah, it's like you said, we don't like to tell the truth as people. So I think that's what's the beauty of it is like, and like you said, like with the New Day as well, it's like it's not like, oh, he's just saying it to make like he's actually telling us what we don't want to hear, but it's true. It's like
Exactly.
we need to hear this because it's like, you know, it's like, especially like John Cena's case, it's like we are the problem.
Yeah.
We have caused this.
Yeah.
He didn't cause this. Even The Rock didn't cause this. Me and you did this. The millions listening to this did this. The millions of people watching did this. You
We could
know?
have we could have loved John Cena for years. We could have still been cheering him. Why did we decide to boo him? Because he got boring. No, you people changed. He didn't change. You changed. Me, everybody. We all changed. And
Yeah.
that's why he did that.
It's like he said in his promo, he's like, "What have you ever done to support me?" And he's like, you." And it's just like, it's true. What have you done? Like, besides boom out the building for the last 20
Exactly.
odd years, you
Even
know?
even when he had that shoulder injury back in '07 when he had to relinquish the title, and he comes back in 4 months when he was meant to be out for a year, and he comes back and wins the 2008 Royal Rumble, which I know you love. But
Mm.
after that show, okay, he was back at the Rumble. Everybody loves him. The MSG went crazy. Madison Square Garden went crazy. But what happens? He got booed going into WrestleMania. He got booed going into everywhere else after that. Why? Because we changed. He didn't.
That's it.
And that's the issue. And I think that is the crux of what we're about to see.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. It's like, and it's just like the little details on the promo, like just trying to emphasize those points. Like, when he throws a towel in and, to the crowd, the hat's like, nope, he's like, kept it on, didn't give him anything,
Yeah,
literally on his way out, turned his back to the crowd,
yeah.
quite literally, you know.
And the little stare when he was leaving, the little stare of like almost like looking at the crowd in disgust.
Yeah,
This is the little details that you don't need to you don't need to speak. We don't need to speak to understand this. We just need to feel. You know what I mean? And
that's it. That's
it
it.
it's and even the things afterwards, Michael Cole again on Raw, John Cena acted like an arrogant prick, and you could see the pain in Michael Cole's face when he was saying that. His face went red, everything went red, and Corey Graves is sitting there like the announcer going, he didn't know what to say.
That's
He didn't
this
know.
is
This is the reality, the emotion, the reason why we love this business in the first place. It's about storytelling and it's about selling emotion, and that's what we
mm.
saw. We've only got about 3 minutes left. What what do you think comes next as we wrap up here?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, he's got two scheduled appearances on the next Raws, right? I'm not sure after that. But what I would love to see is considering what we've spoken about, right? And he's said that, screw to the audience. I would love to see a segment. I was thinking about this right before the podcast. I would love to see a segment where he beats Cody down again, right? But not only, but as he's doing it, he looks at the crowd, he's like, "You did this.
Yeah,
This is because of you," or something like that,
yeah.
or that, or I want him to attack Mama Rhodes whilst Cody watches. That would just to show that he really does not care, you know.
I don't know if they will, but I would love to see that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's too much, but I
Well, we
yes.
can't. I don't know. We can't really be attacking old ladies, right? I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
He could cuss her out in a promo, perhaps.
he could. He could.
I mean, The Rock did that.
He
The Rock
could,
did that in
bring
his promo.
Dusty into it, maybe, make it even worse.
Yeah, because I think sometimes I think in in what we know about professional wrestling now, I think there would be a complete uproar if they did that. But in terms of
Mhm.
physicality on an old lady, but I would love it. But if he could cuss her out in a promo,
He could, but like you said, like The Rock did.
yeah, he could completely cuss her out in a promo. That would that because I think that would be just as bad, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that would be. Yeah, I think there's just so much potential, isn't there? There's so many different ways they could go with it.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying this like sadistic, you know, version of John Cena that, we've never really seen.
yeah. I'm enjoying it because I'm enjoying it because for the first time I don't know what to expect.
No, I said like, he could literally come and do anything next week.
Yeah,
He could come next week, just beat The Rock, sorry, Cody within an inch of his life and just leave.
yeah. I don't know what to expect.
This is must-watch TV.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we've got, as we wrap up here, Rob, I guess we've got some intriguing weeks of television coming up.
We do. We've got what, 4 weeks till Mania, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to see where what happens with it, really.
Any
So
any final
yeah,
thoughts before we wrap up?
only thought I'll try and keep it quick because we've got less than a minute.
Yeah,
Just very excited for the next few weeks, and I'm now very excited to watch WrestleMania this year. It's going to
me
be
too.
very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, Rob, thank you so much for today.
My
This
pleasure.
this this podcast will drop later on tonight, and I'll look forward to having another session with you, and we'll discuss more topics.
Amazing. I look forward to it.
Bye, guys.
Right, bye, everyone.